Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Coding Break, where is going to remind you about taking your coding breaks. On this episode, I want to talk about something that I don't find many remote coders talking about. Not that I hang with a bunch of remote coders, but as I peruse the different community groups, websites, things like that, I very rarely hear many individuals or many coders speak on this particular topic, and it's about loneliness or the struggle of or the lack of connectivity as a full-time remote worker. And so I thought about us when I read this post, because there is an individual, and this individual is non coding, not in the coding industry, excuse me, but they will be going remote full time. And so one of the things that they were posting is that they were actually looking for someone to connect with, because they were transitioning. And so, transitioning from the office into a full time remote space. And so I thought about that, and it's like, how many of us actually suffer from loneliness as a remote coder? How many of us struggle with the lack of connectivity as a remote coder? Now, for me, it varies. It varies. Now, for example, now if I'm working for like a healthcare organization, I'm not going to be bored because I'm going to be in constant communication with my teammates, with other coders, leadership, things of that nature. I'm going to be coding, so my mind is not on dwelling on the fact that I will be remote, that there isn't anyone around me. And then also at lunchtime, I do get out. Like I go out outdoors. I do have children. And I contact other remote coders, right? So it never really bothered me as much. And I know back in a long time ago, I go to like the gym and would take like an aerobics class or aquatics class or what have you. And that was my connection. Or I would do other things like volunteer, not during the office hours, but I make my connections outside of the work hours. Or like I said, at lunch break, I would either do like an aerobics class, or I would go out to eat for lunch or what have you. So, and like I said, it made me wonder how many remote coders are experiencing loneliness, right? Some of you may have transitioned to like full-time entrepreneurship and using your coding experience and certification in that capacity, or you may be a contract coder where you've received the instructions, and so you're fully on your own. You interact, but you don't interact as much with your team because again, you are a contract coder. So my question to you is, do you find that to be a struggle for you? Now, I will say during the pandemic, and I hate to keep going back to that era, when they were sending everyone home, there were a few that I worked with that experienced, they like refused to go home because I guess they would be home alone and they were avoiding that. So yeah, so it does affect some coders, and maybe a lot of us probably haven't paused to like actually think about it again because we're so busy trying to meet the productivity requirements. We're researching, making sure our coding is up to par, so we probably don't have time to think about that. And then if we're on, you have like the different I would say chats or groups like Slacker, for example, where you are in communication with your teammates, with your leadership team. So there's no, you don't have time to think about it. Now, I would say there probably are some who would wish that they had that little bit of time to be left alone. But have you ever considered like going back into the office, or perhaps a hybrid situation? I know for those who have children, like school age children, the benefits of being able to work from home allows you that flexibility to want to be there when your children arrive from school, or to pick your children up, drop them off, or if they're having like events at school, you're able to attend those events. So it provides that healthy work-life balance. And so yeah, there are numerous reasons why it's a positive. I look at working remote as I look more on the pro side versus the con side of things. The pro side of things is, again, like I said, it provides that freedom and that flexibility to balance your work as well as life. Again, if you're like a parent, it allows you the flexibility, especially a single mom. Excuse me, not single mom, but as a mom, it allows you that opportunity to I hate to say play both roles, to be a wife or mother or a homemaker and a parent, as well as earn money while you're doing that. So I look at the pro side of it versus the con side, because again, I think oftentimes we, not just with coders, but remote workers, we can become conditioned to stay in that one location when we have the freedom to move to other locations, right? For example, you can go to like a workspace, as long as you have your own private office or whatever, what have you, or you can, rent that space for like a couple of hours, or so that you can be in community with other people, and then you can go back home, or like I said, if you have, where you can break it up, where you go out for lunch, to get some fresh air, to, take a walk. And that was something else that I did. I would go and take a walk at the park, because there was a park down the street from me. So I would go to the park, I'd walk, and there were people there eating lunch and everything. Again, I connected myself with my community, and then I would go back and resume working. But there are so many individuals, and again, I say outside of coding, and probably some in coding, that they do the digital nomad experience, where they're able to go to different places or different destinations, secure destinations, and work remotely. So it allows them to switch up their visual, what they're seeing, right? And they won't become stagnant sitting in one spot or sitting in one location. They're able to get up out of their home office. They're able to go to travel. Some, may go to like an island or what have you. So they have that flexibility to do that. And so, so I just wanted to talk about that, because that is something, again, that I saw, and I was curious to speak on it, or curious to how many other remote coders are experiencing similar perspectives. So so that's actually all I have for this coding break. If you are a YouTube follower, we are coming with a YouTube video soon. Just trying to work out the kinks and doing some editing, but for the most part, the video is coming. So so that's all that I have for this coding break. And on that note, I am going to let you go back to work. So until next time, code on. Toodles.